figure is wrong. Every time I meet the youngsters like you, and I am in this excellent company, I go back home 5 years younger. Since I do this frequently, believe you me, instead of 94, I feel that I'm 49. I hope there will be another deduction of 5 years after I leave this place today. Now, my friends, I'm very happy that you have invited me to speak without prescribing the subject on which you want me to speak. Of course, I'm supposed to be inaugurating your moot court competition, but that itself is a restriction on my selection of subjects, because I don't wish to help anyone who is participating in this competition. I want to share a few thoughts with you, and maybe that I will have talked about some personal incidents in my life. First of all, I want to talk to you about my attitude to religion. Why I am talking to you about religion is because this morning's newspaper conveys on the front page of the Pioneer two very distressing news. The first is Pak indulges in warmongering, and the second is ISIS claims London attack as its own action of which they are proud. Today, I propose to deal with these two topics, and incidentally some others too. Ultimately, it is the time which is a restraining factor, because I have to catch a flight. I have to catch a flight to Cochin, where tomorrow morning the Cochin bar is celebrating the completion of my 75 years of practice. But I must tell you that I am more proud of something else. Yes, I have completed 75 years of practice, and I am also quite proud of some of my achievements at the bar. But my much greater achievement is that I have completed 76 years of teaching law. I am born in Sindh, which is now a part of Pakistan. But my friends, I am still in the awe of the glory of Sindh, because there is nothing comparable to what I have seen in my younger days in the state in which I was born. Sindh was a whole province which was full of Sufis, belonging both to the Muslim community and the Hindu community. It was a state or a province in which Hindus and Muslims were like two loving brothers. never did we have a communal riot. And ultimately, when I had to migrate from Sindh, which was in the year 1948, there were very almost sad scenes of parting from my Muslim friends. But I must first get you into something slightly different. As I told you, the greatest threat to civilization today is what you find in the morning paper today under the title of ISIS. I am surprised that there is so much lack of education in this country that most people do not know that ISIS is no longer ISIS. It has ceased to be ISIS. It is now IS. The second IS has been dropped. The first IS is Islamic State. The second IS was Iraq and Syria. Initially, ISIS started as a movement which confined itself to these two states of Iraq and Syria. But as this movement has grown, or at least thinks that it has grown, the second IS has now been dropped. It has now become a simple IS, Islamic State throughout the world. And that is why the morning paper of today talks of IS. It's wrong. The newspapers don't know that it is no longer IS, it is IS. IS claims London attack as its own. Now, therefore, the activities of this Islamic State have extended to the whole world, and the entire civilized world is in danger. But I want to make it clear that I have nothing against Islam. In fact, some years ago, I was invited, I don't know why, by the Islamic University in Lucknow. And when I went there, I was the only non-Muslim. The rest of the audience were all Muslim scholars. I felt a little nervous, but I collected my wits, and the first thing that I told the audience was that I am born a Hindu, but I believe that I am a better Muslim than all of you put together. They were shocked. I said, can you guess why? Why I am making this claim? Nobody had the daring to get up and answer this question of mine. I told them, now I am asking you a question. Will you please tell me what is the essence of Islam? Please tell me in 2 sentences. Nobody had the courage, these great Muslim scholars sitting there, to define the essence of Islam in 2 sentences. I told them, I said, my friend, I am a great admirer of the Prophet of Islam. And it is from him that I have learned some things which I have not learned from any other prophet of any other religion. And I said, I must now tell you, because you claim to be Muslims. I claim to be a better Muslim, though I am not. What is the essence? I said that the sense of the religion of Islam consists in two sentences in the Holy Quran. The first sentence is that when you are walking in search of knowledge, you are walking in the path of God. The second sentence is even more important. The ink of the scholar is holier than the blood of a martyr. The tragedy of Islam is that you have forgotten both these lines in the Holy Quran. And I said, I now wish to give you an example. When Muslims followed the teaching of the Prophet of Islam, you became the masters of the civilized world. You conquered almost the whole civilized world, including Spain. And I wish to give you an example of what the correct understanding of the Quran achieved. There was a scholar, Muslim scholar in Babylon, ancient Babylon, who was invited by the Khalifa to go and live in his palace. He very politely refused. He said, sir, don't ask me to come and live in your palace. I have great respect for you, and so on and so forth. The Khalifa persisted, and he persisted in his denial. Finally, the Khalifa told him that, all right, give me one good reason why you don't want to come. He said, sir, if I shift my residence to your palace, I require 400 camels to transport my library. And I find that an impossible task for me to perform. Therefore, please excuse me. I don't wish to accept your invitation. I said, that was the glory of Islam when you conquered the whole civilized world, including Spain. In the 13th century, you got a mad Khalifa. He told you to destroy all books except the Quran. And soon thereafter, you became the slaves of those states whom you had nurtured, whom you had educated. And since then, the fall has continued. And Islam in its original pristine glory no longer exists. What you now call Islam is a fake Islam. It is not Islam, it is not entitled to be called Islam. It is Wahhabism. Wahhab was a 17th or 18th century guy born in Arabia. My friends, it is he who created the theory that all mushrikun have forfeited their right to live. What was the definition of mushrikun? It included Jews, Christians, Shias, Hindus, Buddhists, and all, except the followers of this Wahhabi teaching. He calls himself, that creed is called Islam, but it is not Islam of the Prophet. The Islam of the Prophet is walk in search of knowledge. This is the place of God. This is the place where the teaching of Islam should be remembered. But my friends, today, unfortunately, the real Islam of the real Prophet, one of the greatest prophets, My friends, let me tell you a small personal incident in my life. I had a daughter who for some reason found it necessary to adopt a child. We adopted a child. The child's name was Ali. He was a Muslim boy, only 6 months old when we adopted. We brought him up in our family. He grew up in a Hindu family. But when he understood what was happening, he realized that he was a Muslim and was living in a Hindu family. He one day picked up courage and came to me and he said, "Grandpa, will you please tell me, why am I not converted to Hinduism?" I told him, "Ali, never again talk like this to me. You shall not be converted by anybody. Continue to remain what you are. Follow your path of education and when you become of the age of 25, you decide what religion you want to take, or the only religion that you have also you wish to amend, or at least give up. But I will not ask you to adopt any other religion." My friends, today he is a practicing member in the Delhi bar. His name is still Ali Jethmalani, and nobody has changed his religion. That, my friend, is the attitude to the real Islam. And since all of you are students on the path of education, I want all of you to read a book which ought to be in every library in India. The title of that book is Religion Gone Astray. It is not written by one person. It is the product of the joint authorship of 3 scholars. One is a Jewish rabbi, the second is a Christian pastor, and the third is a Muslim imam. These 3 authors together have produced the book Religion Gone Astray. For God's sake, read that book from the first word to the last word of that book. And I don't know why that book, I have been arguing with my politicians, friends, and I have been arguing with those in charge of education, that for God's sake, keep enough copies of this book in every library, in every college, so that we should have a correct idea of what religion is. Today, this is what has happened to religion, that they are proud of the fact that they have killed a few people in London and they call it IS in London. They are owning that murder that has taken place in London, because it is no longer now in Iraq and Syria, but it is also London. So today, my friends, one of the aims of all civilized persons in civilized countries must be that all secular countries who understand religion in the proper sense must even form their own United Nations, in which those who have come to the conclusion that all Mushrikun have forfeited their right to live, which includes Christians, Hindus and Shias. Today Shias are being killed in Pakistan. That is what civilization has come to. Put religion in the crucible of education and analysis, and only when it satisfies the test of increasing the sum total of human happiness in the Benthamite sense, follow that religion. Don't even take the name of that religion, call it a way of life if you want to. But there is no harm in identifying yourself as a Hindu, Muslim, anything, so long as these different names do not create any kind of animosity or anger and competition of a worse kind. So my friends, today the greatest threat to civilization is this ISIS, and learn to trace it and trace it in all its traces wherever you can discover it and try and kill it like a bad germ. The second, Pak indulges in warmongering. Read this news today. As usual, Pak says today that Kashmir belongs to us by what was decided by the people at the time of partition. I don't know how to answer this. Do you know how to answer it? Now I want you to understand, for God's sake, that Pakistan is not a democracy. Today, Pakistan is a cover-up for a military rule. The real ruler in Pakistan is not the people of Pakistan, but the army, which is complete control, and the so-called elected representatives of the people who constitute the government of Pakistan are all servants of the army. They only don't admit it. They don't honestly tell the truth. Now, ask any politician today, and I am so contemptuous of most politicians in this country because they are not educated persons at all. They have not been able to answer this simple threat and claim which Pakistan is making today. Now, I want you, all of you here, to understand how unfounded is this claim of Pakistan to Kashmir. They say it is an unresolved question of the partition that has taken place. It is not. My friends, when the question of Indian independence was being discussed, one of the questions that arose is that we have 500 states in India, apart from the provinces. Some states are majority Hindu states, some are majority Muslim states, and so on. And doubtless Kashmir was a majority Muslim majority state. But while the Congress leaders said that the answer to the question that the power and authority and sovereignty, whatever resides in the state, where does it reside? The Congress party rightly said that it resides in the people of India. The people of that state will inherit when the British leave. Do you know what Pakistan said? Pakistan said that we don't accept this thesis. Sovereignty will not revert from the British Crown to the people of India, but it will devolve on the ruler of every state. Why did they say so? Does anybody know? Nobody. That is the state of ignorance which we have about Indian politics and the history of Indian growth. My friends, Pakistan thought that Kashmir is such a weak state, we will occupy it any time by force. They had their eyes on Hyderabad. Hyderabad was a Hindu majority state and it was ruled by a Muslim prince, the Nizam of Hyderabad. They thought that sovereignty will rest in the Nizam and the Nizam will then make Hyderabad a part of Pakistan. They had their eyes on Hyderabad and they thought that after Hyderabad comes to us, we will get Kashmir because Kashmir, we just walk through. There will be no problem in walking through Kashmir. My friends, fortunately, India had a savior called Sardar Patel, as distinguished from that fool called Nehru. Believe you me, the Razakars were about to capture power completely and declared that the state belonged to them. Sardar Patel put the Indian army marching into Hyderabad, and before they could do any such mischief, the whole plot of the Nizam and the Razakars was frustrated, and Hyderabad remained a state which is a part of India today. And India has reason to be grateful to the memory of that great Sardar Patel. And my friends, what then happened to Kashmir? Kashmir could not be now had by the theory which Pakistan itself had propounded, and the British had obliged them, that the sovereignty does reside in the ruler. They organized the army people, the armed people, soldiers of Pakistan, and they dressed them as tribals. And these tribals marched into Kashmir, and they were on their way to Srinagar. Fortunately for India, on the way to Srinagar, where they are going to Srinagar and reaching Srinagar was only a matter of one night, they came across a monastery of the poor Christians, which of course had pretty teachers and nurses. They got into their usual activity of sex. They wasted a whole night in raping those women. It is during that night that the Maharaja of Kashmir appealed to India that I want to accede to India. Naturally, the Pakistanis couldn't talk to the prince because they themselves have said that the prince will be the sovereign, and the Maharaja of Kashmir on their own theory had become the sovereign. And the Maharaja acceded to India during that one night when they were raping those women. Speak like this to them and they will then understand that what kind of uncivilized people we are facing. And they are not Muslims, they are anything but Muslims. They are a denial of the Muslims and an insult to the Prophet of Islam. So my friends, this is the true news that I wish to share with you. And please educate your politicians to be able to give the correct answers. That now the Maharaja of Kashmir has acceded to India. Sovereignty resided in him according to the theory which you made the British government to accept. And now there is no going back upon that. India has got its sovereignty there. And even today, my friends, I want to tell you a small little incident that today you know who the secessionist leader is in Kashmir. Does anybody know or no? You don't know the greatest secessionist today in India, in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. He has got a council of 20 persons. And the previous government in India had filed a false case against an advocate, Ghulam Bhatt, is the name of that advocate. He was one of the 20 members of the council of this great politician who secessionist politician. And I am appearing for him for the last 6 years free. I have broken the case against him. He is an innocent man, he is a practicing lawyer, but he certainly was associated with this only secessionist leader. I hope you know his name. So my friends, I have been talking to them, and all these 18 people out of 20 come to me and meet me, and they have assured me that you get this Ghulam Bhatt released, and we are against secession under any circumstances, and we will certainly stop this secessionist business in Jammu and Kashmir. But I'm sorry. I have talked to the Prime Minister, I have talked to the previous Prime Minister, I have talked to Modi, I have talked to Rajnath, and even day before I have talked to Rajnath, when he met me in Parliament, I said, aren't you ashamed of it? How many times I have told you that he is the advocate, the case against him is totally false. Your public prosecutor will tell you that the case is false. Even he says that I want written instructions because I don't want to take the risk. He's not a very senior man. He doesn't wish to take the responsibility for himself. My friends, everything today is spoiled by our incompetent politicians. And that is why I am the founder of the BJP, but I am now an experienced member of the BJP. And my friends, please understand this mystery. What happened when the question of this elections was coming? Inside the BJP, there were a number of persons who were wanting to be the prime ministers of this country. One of them was Arun Jethmalani. But every member of the parliamentary board was aspiring to be the prime minister of this country. Now this is a long story. I hope you have the patience to hear it. The United Nations started a fight against corruption. They started considering this problem in the year 2000. And for 4 years, the United Nations worked on a convention against corruption. And that convention against corruption was finalized in 2004 after 4 years of hard work and study. And it was opened for accession by states from 2005. The first country almost which put its signature on that document was the Congress government in India. And the next morning, the Great Times of India newspaper in blazing headlines said, look, see how the Congress party is wanting to get rid of corruption in this country, and India has now signed the convention against corruption. They thought that people of India are all fools, including Jethmalani. No United Nations convention becomes binding by a signature. You have to lodge in the United Nations office what is called a document of ratification. It is that document of ratification which alone makes the document binding on India. This was not done by the Congress party. Nor was there anybody in the opposition party to tell the Congress party that why don't you sign this if you are against corruption. Who worried about corruption? Not India, not the ruling party, not the opposition party, which means neither the Congress nor the BJP. But Germany. The Germans paid a bribe of $475 million to an employee of the Liechtenstein Bank. It's a bank which is situated on the borders of Switzerland. It's a small state. The bank is probably the whole state. The Liechtenstein Bank. And that employee, after receiving that bribe of $475 million from Germany, gave a list of 1,400 rascals who have defrauded their own country. The Swiss Bankers Association and the German government made a public announcement in 2008 that the majority of the names in this list of 1,400 are Indians. Does anyone know here? Who is teaching us? Who is teaching you? I find fault even with the teachers of law and teachers of all faculties. That have you brought this to the notice of the people of India? That the Germans said that India is a friendly country and we are prepared to share this information about Indian rascals if the government of India wants it. And nobody from India had the courage to ask for the names because the names are of those with whom all our politicians are tied up. Make no mistake about it. I went to Germany. I had taken with me a German lawyer, an old friend of mine, is a leading German lawyer. He and I approached the Germans. And I argued with the German government that look, India is a democracy. You have obligations to the people of India and not to the government of India. As an opposition leader, I am a member of parliament. I have come to you to seek this information on behalf of the people of India. I want to have these names of the rascals. This is your obligation to the people. They agreed with me. They said, Mr. Jethmalani, kindly go back to India and only ask 2 or 3 opposition leaders to write to us as soon as possible that Indian people want the names of these rascals and we want to take action against them and recover the black money which is stashed abroad. I returned to India. I even drafted the 2-line letter which I wanted these BJP politicians to send to Germany, that the people of India want the names of these rascals. My friends, after 10 days I asked each one of them, and don't ask me the names of these rascals. They are names who I even feel ashamed of uttering their very names. All 3 told me that we forgot. Can 3 persons forget the same thing? Of the greatest importance. My friends, I went to the Supreme Court in 2009. And in the Supreme Court, I had taken 4 or 5 co-petitioners with me, very highly educated people. And the Supreme Court, fortunately, I got a very, very fine bench of judges. The matter was fought for 2 years. And the judgment was fixed to be delivered by the bench in July 2011. Manmohan Singh was still the Prime Minister. My friends, a task force of the Congress party had made a report, a detailed report, in which the report had said that 90 lakh crores of Indian rupees, equivalent to about $1,500 billion of money belonging to India, are stashed in these foreign banks. Manmohan Singh realized that this government, Supreme Court is now delivering the judgment in July, immediately after because that's the vacation time for the Supreme Court. And this is going to be a serious blow. Do you know what this man did? I have such a great respect for Sardarji. I am a Sardarji myself, but I don't grow. I don't keep those long hair and so on. But, my friends, I am a Sikh. Manmohan Singh committed the biggest fraud on the Indian people. He entered into a secret protocol with the Germans, with the Swiss finance minister. You will be amazed to know what the two terms were. Term number one, India will seek information not about the past but only about the future. How wise? Would you not shoot down such a rascal? You would. The second term is a little technical. I will have to take 5 minutes to explain to you that India will not seek any information under the United Nations Convention, but only under what is called the Double Taxation Avoidance Treaty. A Double Taxation Avoidance Treaty is not an international document. It is a document understood and prescribed by Section 90 of the Indian Income Tax Act, under which an honest taxpayer, sometimes on the same income, has to pay income tax in 2 different countries. India can tax you if you make wealth in Germany or in any part of the world, because you are an Indian citizen. And that country where you go and make money, they can also tax you because you have made money in their country. So to avoid this inconvenience to honest people, they were called the Double Taxation Avoidance Treaty. And by some method, this Double Taxation Avoidance Treaty thereafter acquired the name of Amended Double Taxation Avoidance Treaty. But again, the newspapers played their role, which they have been performing for a long time now. The whole press is bought, except with few exceptions. And unless, my friends, people have the courage to speak the truth, nothing is going to happen in this country. Ultimately, what happened was, Modi fought the election. Everybody knows how much of work that I have done for Modi. And when I started projecting Modi as the future Prime Minister of this country, they started expulsion proceedings against me. Arun Jethmalani and clique. And I was expelled from the party in the middle of the election campaign, when the election results were still not announced and the contest was still going on. They hoped that Modi would lose. But Modi won. And my friends, I used to be a regular writer of a weekly piece in a newspaper called the Sunday Guardian. It was my paper for 5 years. I was the president of the board. And on that day, when the Modi government was being sworn, I wrote my weekly piece in which I said, Mr. Modi, congratulations on your spectacular success. I am very proud of the fact that I have made some humble contribution, small contribution to your success. But I am writing this piece today. You will be amazed what I wrote. I said, I am writing this today to tell you that so far as I am concerned, I am living in the departure lounge of God's airport. I want nothing from you and nothing means nothing. Now fulfill your promises to the people of India. The first promise that they had made was that don't worry about these BJP rascals. taking these expulsion proceedings. We will set aside the expulsion in 2 minutes. They never did. Of course, they can't expel me from Parliament. I was expelled from the BJP. So I enjoyed my term up to 2016. And in 2016, when my term came to an end, I was returned from Bihar without spending a single penny on that election. I was invited, and I am still a member from 2016. I am supposed to have 6 years more. I don't think I'll survive that long, but with your good wishes, be sure that I'll again get 5 years. So this is the state of affairs today in our country. What then happens? 2 things I want to tell you, and you will then decide for yourself whether some of these politicians are not politicians who deserve to be caught, hold on a public street and given a thrashing. Don't kill them. Don't kill the rascals. They deserve to suffer. I had one order which I had obtained from the Supreme Court in the July 2011 judgment, that you say that you have approached the Germans, they have given you no information. Disclose that correspondence to Jethmalani. For more than almost 2 years, they did not comply with the Supreme Court order. In whose possession was that correspondence? Correspondence was in the possession of Chidambaram, who was the previous finance minister. And when the new government came in power in 2014, the same correspondence remained in the possession of whom? Mr. Arun Jethmalani. They would not give it to me, nor would Arun Jethmalani complain that this is no correspondence. I'll tell you what that correspondence was. My friends, on the day the Modi government was being sworn, the previous Solicitor General of the previous government, because I threatened that I am now going to take contempt proceedings against you rascals and I'll have you put up in jail, then on that day, under a covering letter of the previous Solicitor General, they sent me 17 letters, correspondence with Germany. I looked at the correspondence. The name in each letter of the author of the letter and the address of the letter was scored out by indelible ink, black ink. I told them, I said, listen, who has scored out these 2 names? Both addresser and addressee. They say this is international practice. I said, this is the practice of international crooks, I will see you. Then came Mr. Arun Jethmalani. Letters were in his position as finance minister. He and Chidambaram are two accomplices. By looking at those letters, at one place the name of the person who is the author of the letter was scored out, but they had forgotten to score out the email address. Crooks are also fools. And that email address, I had to spend 2 or 3 hours on it. It turned out to be the name of Anita Kapoor, a well-known friend of Chidambaram. I'm using the word friend in a friendly manner. What about Mr. Jethmalani? Some member of parliament, friendly to him, asked a question. that the previous government did nothing to get this black money. What are you doing now as a finance minister? 2 years have almost passed. Do you know the reply of Mr. Arun Jethmalani? He said, I am entering into double taxation avoidance, amended double taxation avoidance treaty with various nations. In other words, he is a crook, but he is a crook without intelligence. Crooks are usually clever people. But this man made a public confession on the floor of the House in Parliament that these are the letters which are intended to help me to get into this double taxation avoidance treaty, which I told you they have nothing to do with the recovery of elections. And Mr. Jethmalani still continues to be the finance minister, but now he has become a defense minister as well. Are we safe? So my friends, it is time that the young people in this country got up and resolved that you will make all sacrifices to recover this money. This money is estimated by the task force of the BJP itself, which is a public document, that it is 90 lakh crores. Now, what else should I tell you? Forget the politics part of it. Forget the religion part of it. There are 2 or 3 other things which you must do for God's sake. First of all, what do you intend to do? About our democratic apparatus. It's a big thing which you have to make up your mind about. How do you propose to deal with making India a real working democracy, which today it is not? The party president has made a public statement that all talk about black money by the BJP leaders and including Modi was a jumla, a joke. What does it mean? It means that we have cheated you and got your vote. When the state government's elections, state legislative were taking place in Bihar, Mr. Nitish, who is a great friend of mine, invited me to go and campaign for it. I went there and I told Nitish, I said, Nitish, I am now running my 93rd year. Please don't ask me, I don't have that energy to go and campaign for you. But I want you to hold 2 meetings. I will not address any meeting for more than 20 minutes, probably it will be less. And you see the miracle. He did it. Do you know what I said? I used less than 20 minutes which I had got for myself. I told the people that, listen, my friend Nitish has called me to Bihar to campaign for him. I have no energy now to campaign for him, but I have come here to tell you that if I had a vote in Bihar, I would certainly have voted for Nitish Bhai, and I want you to do likewise, if you can. I said, I finished my campaign part. I am now asking you, can you guess why I have come here? Nobody again guessed. I told them that I have come to Bihar to seek your forgiveness. I have in practitioner of law and a leading practitioner of law for 75 years. But Modi made a fool of me too. He cheated you. You voted for him. I have helped him to cheat you by campaigning for him. I have come to seek your forgiveness. If you forgive me, well and good, I will die in peace. But if you don't, I will seek the forgiveness of God. See what happened in Bihar. He lost. Modi lost. And they've been here and there. But my friends, today the success in UP is also dependent upon the instruments which have been used, the EVMs. Already the Americans have made a pronouncement that these EVMs are weapons of fraud on the people. And I know of a family where the leader of the family had 1 vote and other members of the family collectively had 15 more votes, 16 votes. All the 16 votes were cast. Not 1 vote has been registered. I have now ordered 1 EVM for myself. I am going to have it analyzed by the greatest experts in the country. And you see that even UP might turn out to be the big fraud that it is. But I want to ask you to keep quiet till the American forecast and advice that they have given that this is all a complete instrumental fraud comes true. And my friends, at least make a pledge that if that comes true, you will do something not violent, but as good as violent, to get rid of the crooks that rule us. And thank you.